first thing we're going to do is take a look at the SPY. So yesterday we did break out above that 230, which we've been talking about for the last week or two. I did sell 10% of my SPY calls in the afternoon, and if we have another 1 to 2 point run up on the SPYs, I'll sell another probably 15%. They don't expire for another 6 weeks. Whoa, what just happened there? Uh-oh. Give me a sec to fix this. Studies. All right. So we broke out here, finally around this the 229.60. We got almost a 231 yesterday, and this morning, whoops, we had that little end of the day that we've seen a lot recently on the strong days. We're really strong all day, and then right at the end of the day, there's a little bit of a selling pressure, profit taking. But in this case, we're gapping right up towards the high. So computer's acting a little bit slow. So what we'll watch for this morning is 230.75-ish or so, the morning high, where we consolidated towards the mid-afternoon. Above or below right there. If that holds there, that's extremely bullish, tight against yesterday's high. And then a consolidation at or above yesterday's high. We'll look for some sort of follow through today, but a pretty big move yesterday for the volatility regime we're in right now. From low to high, $1.40 or so, which, believe it or not, is a range right now. So I wouldn't think, if we did get above 231 today, 231.50 maybe, put in the high there. IWM, which had been relatively weak compared to the SPYs, played big time catch up yesterday. The day before, tested below 134, both right on the open and then in the middle of the day. And you can see yesterday's high was about $3.30 above the prior day's low, which is over 2%. And we're gapping a little bit higher this morning. If we look at the daily chart, actually we have the daily chart down here the way I'm doing it this morning. What we can see is this 2-month consolidation range, and we're gapping up right to this 137.5 right now, which was penetrated initially on the all-time high here, spent a couple of days up here, and then again, but pretty much was major resistance as well, going back to January 5th, and then since then, we haven't been able to really penetrate that band. You can see failed here these 2 days in a row here. So we're right back up there. It's possible we can make a new high. We saw strength in oil since it pulled back the other day, real rip to the upside. Commodities, obviously yesterday the move in CLF, X, and so those things are helping it. If it does get above 138 today, and it's holding, anything is possible. But I'm not banking on the fact that this is going to break out today out of this 2-month band. All right, first one we're looking at is ATVI. My cousin actually works at this company. I think she's been there for a year and a half. So I'd root for it to go up a little bit. So this one was actually one of the stronger stocks in the market. If we look at the daily, the last few years had really good momentum. Ran all the way up to $40, then had this severe pullback, and then had a nice trend channel, making a new all-time high. Back in the October quarter, it came all the way back down, did a retest at 36. So this had been a gap up in earnings, had tested it, in the summer, and then tested it here, actually right towards the end of the year. Consolidated above, started to trend higher, looking like it was going to head back up to this 42, and now we're gapping this morning above, well above 42. So right now in the pre-market's gapping up almost $5, $4.50. You can see after the initial gap in the after hours, it couldn't go below 43. My preference would be for a little bit of a deeper pullback, something closer to that 42 area. Actually, let's say 42.70. Have an alert right into here. Then start to, as it gets closer to this, the mid 42, see if it can establish some sort of bid. But thinking it can, it's a little bit of an unusual earnings, right? They missed by 10 cents, then I guess some things got shifted to next quarter, and then they guided up by 20 cents. So net a plus 10 cents for the quarter. Market seems to like whatever they said related to that. I don't have much more detail beyond that. It's definitely a tricky spot, 45. Just curious, is my audio going in and out at all? I seem to be seeing a little bit of slowness on my. Anyway, the reason I put this one first, I know everyone wants to look at NVIDIA, is I just feel like from a volume standpoint and a price standpoint, it's going to be a little bit more manageable. I also do think very well could have a 2-point range today, which should be plenty. And you can see on that when the volume spikes up on this one on the daily, the volume gets quite high here. 20 million shares, 15 million shares, etc. So this should be a good one. Now let's take a look at Yelp. Yelp, the earnings seem fine to me. I think we have more of a situation of, remember this one was a mid-teenager and bottomed down here at 15, 16 bucks. The business was not as bad as people thought, and got its way back up to $40+. So from 15 to low 40s, they wanted to see a little bit more momentum, I think, in the earnings. When I looked at the numbers, what was it? The revenue was in line. They beat on EPS, meaning the business expenses are under control, the margins are fine, so they're making good money. But that revenue number, they probably wanted to see a little bit of an acceleration to keep it in the 40s. Even down at $36, it's a double off the bottom, more than a double. So I think that's more of the issue. Now, when it came down here in the after hours yesterday, I think I threw in a bid. I don't remember where I threw in a bid. Maybe 35 or something. Never quite got there. It bounced up to 38.5. It's coming back down to do a retest here. I guess my first thing that I would look for is if it holds this 36.50 and it bounces, does it make a lower high? Last night it got up to 38.5, 37.5, 38. If it does that, if it puts in a lower high here, lower than the bounce from the after hours, rolls over again, starts to hold below 37, then I'd look for a deeper pullback. Right on the open, if the first move is up and it's holding above 37.50 and then makes a break above 38, perhaps they can work it all the way back to $40. I don't have a strong opinion on this one either way, so I'm just going to play off these kind of the prices that have developed for us here, and then we'll see what the first 30 minutes looks like. And then NVIDIA, which reported the numbers looked fine. First move was down. It dropped about $10. I was very conservative in this one. I think I had a bid at 104.50. And it stopped at 107. Then popped right back to the 115 or so. It started to roll over again, and I thought, oh, maybe it'll actually roll back, do one of those where it rolls back down to 110, 108. But it closed in the after hours above 116. Upside follow through this morning. I'm sure analysts are making positive comments. Uh, Here's the longer term chart. It first came to our attention on this gap up all the way back here when it gapped to 40 before we realized that it was just going to become the number one momentum stock in the market. And it just showed nothing in its price action to indicate it was going to pull back. At that point, I think we talked about it maybe going to 50. Once it got above 50, it then consolidated at 60, and then another earnings gapped it above 80. It went vertical from there. The desk did make a lot of money on the short side on these few days when it pulled back from the vertical move. We did get long down here, 102, 100, and now it's right back above 120. So there's no way of knowing where this is going to stop. Obviously, it's above the all-time high, or was above the all-time earlier here. I don't know if 120 to 125 is the area, or it goes to 130, 150. But regardless of that, it is a momentum stock now, similar to how, well, I guess Netflix is still a big momentum stock, but similar to how Netflix was behaving 3-4 years ago when it made its monster run. And that's why I put it third. I think the moves will be pretty wild, but after it settles down on the open, if they're, whether it's the buyers or the sellers in control, if we can get a consolidation, we can maybe make a trade off of a break of consolidation. I put on the sheet 121 resistance, then nothing above there. I think what I was thinking about when I was looking at this is if it's going to be super strong today, it'll pull into like this 118, 117 and a half area. It won't go much below than that, and then rip to the upside, make a new all-time high. If it can't hold that area, I'd probably be more comfortable in the 116, 116.40, this spot right here. At that point there, then you're talking about a pretty good risk reward for move back up to the pre-market high versus 115. So Skechers, SKX. So this is one that's been in a long-term downtrend. And after it had this huge run from $20 into the 50s, it gapped down below 35. It consolidated between 26 and 34, and then it gapped down again, broke below 26, and had a new consolidation. And this actually similar to Yelp, became a teenager, and then they just stepped back in and bought it up. This earnings gap down here over July of last summer is the spot where it's just having trouble. I'm having trouble with my A signal drawing lines. So 2750, 2780. So it's a ways away. What did I put on the sheet? I put 2750 resistance. Right now 2620, which I guess was this recent pivot high right here on the daily. Yeah, I mean, for somebody like you, Manny, who's less experienced, I would say it's probably better for you not to focus on it and focus on the first two stocks I talked about. So SKX. So initial move was to 25, then secondary move was above 26. 25 to 25 and a quarter. I guess this would be the spot that I'd first be looking at on the open right here as a spot. The next one is CLF. CLF, I think we had it as our number one stock in the morning meeting yesterday. My trade, I made a few trades in the afternoon in it, but on the open, my only real trade was I bought 997. We had 10 on the sheet as it flushed low. Immediately, it popped up 40 cents. It made a higher low here at 10.10, giving everyone else who didn't get in a chance to buy it if they wanted to. And thing ripped up to $11. Smart of the company to do a secondary. I think it was 1075. They did 50, 60 million, some huge amount of shares, raised a bunch of money, used their momentum. Look, the fundamentals were accelerating and good. That's why they were able to, after closing earnings at 950, they were able to price a deal with 50 million shares at 1075. That's pretty solid. Maybe it flushes below there on the open. You can pick some up into closer to 1050, 1060. Wouldn't surprise me if it got above 11 again today and held above there. Twitter. So Twitter, we made a trade on this on the open as well into the pre-market support. It bounced up to 17, couldn't hold there. I'm sure some people tried to short it against on this failure here. It goes weak. It got a bunch of downgrades today. It's below 16 right now. We'll see. 16, high 15s has been good support for the last year or so. A lot of negativity in the stock. I saw a $10 target, $13 target. People are not happy with this. I mean, for 2 years, it's been a big disappointment, right? Every time it rallies up, it gets crushed. So I don't think you have to be, even with all the downgrades and lower price targets, I still think it's possible there'll be some decent long trades in it today. Flush shot right on the open into the 1570s. Maybe it pops back up to 16, and then you see at 16, can't get above there, holds, start to roll over again. That's a short trade. And then we'll see. ACOR. This is one we talked about, had the good drug news yesterday. When something gaps up on good news, what we like to see is it flush into prior, looking at the daily right now, the prior resistance, which it did right on the open. It never quite got to, I wanted to try to pick some up a little bit lower than 22, like 2180, something like that. If we look at the open, it flushed from 23 and a quarter to 22, held it on the open, held it again here. Eventually had a pretty nice move. I'm not sure what this was about in the day, but after that it was pretty tight and bought the rest of the day, gapping up higher this morning. So certainly anyone used the opening low to buy against. They were rewarded with 2 points, a gap up this morning. That's $1.50 above 24 now. I think I have on there as 24. If there was some sort of flush right on the open, 24.40 or lower, this would be an interesting spot for you to take a look at. The breakout price in the afternoon was 23.75. So someone's asking about a second day play. Stupid live chat button is covering it up. Is that COP under there? I see O and P. I'm assuming it's COP. Nope. Oh, rock. So this is not something I've ever traded, and your question is second day plays. Sure. So second day play, obviously a very strong stock. The range had a $10 range, closed. You know what? It closed in the upper third of the range, I guess, but you would have liked to have seen a close closer to like 204 plus. Morning high was 202 change. Accumulation in the afternoon was around 202.80. I guess what I would look for in this one is pretty good accumulation on the open. Tails at 202, has a nice 3-point move from there. I mean, the sellers are kind of in control right now. They put in the high, it came down, the sellers held this 203.50, started to roll over, came back, they tested it again, and then it went lower. So yeah, 203.50 you have in there. If it actually gets bought on the open and pops up, and then you see it holding below 203.50, some people probably have decided to take profits today. That's how I would look at it. If they do decide to take profits, this area here where it held in the morning after the put in the high 199.80 to 200 is what I'd be looking at. Okay, so I'll probably do a little bit of trading on the open. I'm out of the office, have to deal with some personal issues. As always, be patient and good luck.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.